Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm going to be using these three lovely colours for the Creative Colour Challenge that's run by Vicky Lou Designs. I'll leave a link in the description there if you fancy having a go yourselves. So these are the colours we're using today: Rich Raspberry, Crumb Cake and Coastal Cabana. And it just so happened that I saw those colours and I was looking for an alternative colourway to make a card, so I've decided I'm going to do it in these colours and just see how it turns out. So that's what we've got, that's what we're playing with today. The sample card that we're going to replicate is this one, so in readiness for the upcoming Father's Day. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how I made this, and then there's the gloss on the letters there. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for in this tutorial. So the products we're going to use are the Alphabest stamp set, which has a coordinating little mini punch here with this cute sort of tag shape, some coordinating images at the bottom there as well. So we're using this. Remember, if you buy stamp set with its coordinating dial punch, you save 10% on the combined price. And the background there, I'm using this dots and spots die. That's what we're going to use for that. And then there is the banners in the background there. These comes from the Stylish Shapes. I've already die cut these ahead of time actually, just because it's just one less step for you to watch. Nothing fancy, I've just die cut 3 from Crumb Cake cardstock, so they're ready to go. Yes, so these are the Stylish Shapes. So we've got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I've got 6 circles. 6 circles. Yeah, and 5 squares. They're double stitched, so the aperture and the actual, so the negative and the positive have the stitching on them. And the nice little fishtail banners there as well. So that's what we're doing. We're aiming for this. Okay, so in the colour scheme, I'm going to go all out and go with the nice bright blue. Is it blue or is it green? It's always a quandary with Coastal Cabana. Well, it is for me anyway. For the card, the background. And then we're going to die cut the spots and dots die from some basic white cardstock to stick over the top. So we're going to get that done first. So the die plate is American sizing and stuff, so I've oversized the card layer slightly, and I'm just eyeballing that to try and make sure that I've got the same amount of sort of spots and dots showing on both sides, or both edges, just so that we can try and get it even. It does look odd if you if these kinds of dies aren't entirely straight, so hopefully this will come out straight enough. And we're going to end up with loads of little dots both in and out of the die, so those will just press out, which we can do when we clear up. And then we've got the little dots that get left behind on the plate as well. So now there will be some among you that are thinking this would be a good paper piecing exercise. Now, on a day where I feel like I might have the patience for that, I might give that a go. But you could just sort of make your own little, almost colour them as well, cut them from coloured cardstock, and then use them as sort of embellishments, if you like. Sort of faux paper pearls or something. I'm going to bring in the trimmer here to cut this down so it's wider than I need it to be. So I'm just going to take the edge off this to about there. I need it to be 4, so we'll put this to 4 1/8. another eighth off the other side to make it 4, and hopefully those holes will look similar on both sides. Makes a funny noise because you're cutting through funny layers of cardstock, so we've got nice even sized divots on both sides there. And then it is a little bit long, so the actual piece of cardstock 6, we need to take off 1/8 of an inch off both ends as well. So we're going to clip that. That just takes off that bottom bit, and another 1/8 off the bottom to make it 5 3/4. Okay, I'm just going to take a hair more off just to make it look even. When you're doing really small cuts like that, trimmer's not really designed for that. I'm looking for my little brush. Just going to get all that paper dust out of there with the brush. If you keep that track clean, you'll get better cuts on your blade anyway. And then we'll just tidy that edge up with some scissors, because we know where it needs to be, so we'll just cut that. Those fluffy bits off, like so. There we go. So sometimes when you've got this sort of uneven edge to cut, you will catch little bits there and here and there, but easily put right. A little bit of a haircut here and there. I'm going to use the multi-purpose glue to stick this down. It's not going to need a lot to keep it in place, so I'm just going to run some lines of glue in between these dots. Not necessarily all of them, just enough to keep it secure. And pop that onto the front of our card. And of course the liquid glue just gives you a little bit of wriggle room just to be sure it's straight before giving that a good press. And that can be drying while we're doing the other portions of our card. Doesn't that look cute? Okay, so at this point in time, you could introduce pink or something, and just make that into quite a feminine looking card. But I think once we finish with the other colours and the layout, we're gonna it's gonna look really cool. And men like bright colours too. Okay, so the real deal is with the Alphabest stamps. Okay, so I've sort of cheated and got all my stamps out. They're all on a variety of blocks in front of me. Okay, I've got the one that looks like a little frame around the letter there. Okay, so I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana again to tie that in with the background. And I'm basically going to stamp out all the little squares ready for my letters. Okay, so I'm going to need a 4, a 3 and a 4. That's probably a bit close to the bottom. So I'm just spacing these out. The just a bit of the punch is going to go across that way. That's where the entry point is. So we're going to go along, and of course you want some space in between. But I obviously, because I've used my because I've done my sample, I know that I don't need much space in between. It's quite a nice little border on there. So they're spread out enough so that they're not going to punch into each other. And it just so happens that this scrap of cardstock happily accommodates 3 rows of these little images. Okay, so that's what we've achieved there. So those are basically our little spaces. And I have to say I did giggle to myself because I thought it reminded me of a game show, and I couldn't think at the time what it was, but I'm pretty sure it's Wheel of Fortune, where they turn the letters and you know, reveal the letters one by one. So yeah, anyway, rich raspberry is the colour we're going to do our letters in. So like I say, I've got mine all sort of laid out and mounted already. They fit really nicely on the little A blocks, but there's only so many of those I've got. I do have quite a few, but not enough to accommodate every letter that I needed. I am going to be just hover over the top, get it centralised and press down. I am cleaning these stamps as I go, just to minimise the amount of staining on the photopolymers. It's just a pet hate of mine. It doesn't hurt your stamps at all, I just don't like it. It's just me being fussy. Okay. And of course, with these being photopolymer, we can see straight through them and get them lined up. So we've now got a D, and we will need that. Oh, I should have done the E. This is where it started to remind me of when I had sort of gaps in between. It's quite funny. Just want that E again, because I was doing it like this, you see. It just made it look like we were trying to guess the missing letters. Just found it amusing. Got the A. Oops, let's get that the right way up, shall we? Okay, so this is really nice and simple. And of course, because it's a punch rather than dies, it's actually going to be really quick to get all these cut out. So last one, our R. Okay, and again the colour combo here kind of reminds me of some football teams. So one of our local teams in Birmingham has a sort of blue and, well, claret, let's just say a claret and blue theme. I believe there's some teams up north with the same colour strip. Not that I'm much of a football buff. But there you go. So that's what we've got so far. Okay, but now we're going to add another layer with Versamark using the solid image here, and we're going to go over the top in Versamark so we can then heat emboss over the top with clear powder. Okay, so in readiness, because we don't want the ink drying and stuff on us, so I'm just going to grab my little tidy tray. Now Stampin' Up have just brought out their own version of this tidy tray, which you'll find in the catalogue, with cute brush and tweezers and an embossing buddy. So do look for that. Embossing buddy is going to be really, really cool. And then I've got a great big pot of clear embossing powder as well. So I just want that ready to go. And there we are. So when I get the heat gun out, I'm probably going to mute the microphone there because you don't want to hear that. So I'm just going to ink that up with the Versamark clear sticky ink. It's slow drying, so you've got got a little bit of time just to get those stamped in place, but you need to get it done in a reasonable amount of time, otherwise your powder's not going to stick. In the light you'll be able to see where you've been if you kind of get distracted. I'll just go over all of those. I've just noticed that because the Rich Raspberry is quite a dark ink, a little bit of that pigment has just come up a little bit on the but it's fine, it's only slight. There we go, so they're all coated in the what do you call it, embossing Versamark ink. And I'm going to sprinkle over the clear embossing powder. You only need a little bit, don't need to absolutely coat it, alright, and you'll be able to see that that's covered. Might be hard to see on the camera, but I can see that little layer of dust over each of those, and it looks great. Okay, so this tidy tray allows you to just tip away that powder back into its pots. Keep things neat. Now, as this is quite a long strip of paper, we don't need to get any tweezers out or anything, but we're going to heat that up. So we're going to use a heat tool on the high speed setting, okay, and this is going to be really, really loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the video, and then you can just see it. Hopefully you'll be able to see it turn glossy as I go. Okay, so I'll be back in a second. I'll just mute the mic. Okay. Okie dokie then. Right, so I did heat the back as well, but sometimes it comes out a little bit on the splotchy side now. I'm wondering if I can try and show you that. Can't get the lights. Ah, right, okay. See how it's not quite a nice clean sheen on that, whereas the D on Dad is a little bit cleaner. Okay, so if it comes out a little bit speckly, you can go over them again. So we can apply some more ink and we can double emboss basically. This is a technique that I haven't done for a long time actually. And the other thing with the smooth, getting the smooth look, is to actually heat it from the back rather than from the front. Not super sure why that works. Okay, so again we're going to coat that with powder. Okay, because that's already got stuff on it. I just wanted to make sure that it's caught on all the whole of those images there. So now we're going to go again. So just mute it once more, and then I'm going to heat that mostly from behind, I think. Sorry about that. And hopefully that will come out glossy. Okay, look at that, beautiful. Okay, so that's come out brilliantly. Alright, So all we've got to do now is punch it out. I say this is super easy with this punch. We can just move along here over those images. Just go easy. You don't want to damage your embossing. Okay, and we can just punch those letters out from the cardstock. So I found on my original that I could get 2 out before I had to trim down the cardstock, so I could reach in with the punch. So we'll do those like so. Right, so now those are all punched out, we're going to flip them all over, and these are perfect width for dimensionals. Okay, and one fits on these really well. So we're going to pop a dimensional on each one of these. Okay. Like so. So all these, just lots of little steps with this card. I think the overall effect is really cool. Okay, so now we're going to bring in our little banners here. Okay, so already taken the backings off these ones. Okay, and I'm going to just put a spot of multi-purpose on, because we want to make sure that these are positioned where we want them to be. So I find the easiest way to do this is to put the ones in on the end first, and then it's easier to eyeball the middle and get the gap. So once I'm happy with those two, we can pop these ones in, preferably the right way up. I'm not going to press these ones hard until I can see that they're in the right place. They look okay. So there we go. So we're going to do the same with each one of those. So there we go. All of those are in place. We just need to just give those a couple of seconds to dry. Okay, so now we can get those adhered to our cards. So I'm just going to flip those over and we're going to use more dimensionals. Those. It's a bit of curl on them with all the other bits and bobs, so I'm actually going to go a little bit bonkers and put 4 of those on. But we don't want it going on wonky. And again, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue to help with the positioning of these. Alright, so again, we're going to use the same theory of positioning the central banner first, so that we can then get the ones below it and above it lined up. Okay, so this will be it. Okay, so like I say, just a little spot of glue on each of those. Just makes the world of difference when we're trying to do this kind of thing. So again, we're looking at these spots. So these spots will sort of betray you, if you like, because it will show if things aren't lined up quite right. So I was looking for those spots either side of that fishtail there as my marker for where we are. It is slightly above centre, which is absolutely fine. I did my other one a bit more central than that. I think I dropped it down a little bit so that the points were sort of more on the spots there. So that's how this one's going to fall, with the spots sort of on the edges there. So it's sort of the inverse of what I've got on the other one. Okay. And then I would kind of leave a block on that now to just hold that down and just let that dry for another few moments. Okay, so that's good and dry now. Take off the block. We've got this lovely glossy look to the card. So some bright fun colours versus some more muted, dare I say, more traditional colours there. Okay, so variation on a theme, and of course, just because it says best dad ever doesn't mean to say that's the sentiment that you want. You can spell out literally anything you want. There's room on these banners probably for up to about 6 letters maybe, if we squid them together a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I think that's a really cute bundle. I was really pleased to see it in the catalogue. We've got additional backgrounds and things there as well, so there's all sorts of fun we can have with this set, I think. And then we've got the numbers too, so you know, birthdays, all that kind of jazz. And then you've got some cute little stars and flowers as well. So brilliant, love it. I hope you enjoyed that and it's given you some ideas. Maybe you weren't sure how to use it effectively, but there you go. Thanks a lot for joining me today. As I say, this is for the Creative Colour Challenge for this week. Do check it out, link will be in this description. Thanks everybody, stay safe, I'll see you soon, bye.